If you've been interested in bodyweight training for any amount of time, you've probably heard of the basics.
Basic movements.
The basics.
But what are the basics and how can we use them to become better athletes? Well, essentially, basics are any exercise that at its core allows us to develop mastery at a global level. Typically, the basics center around 4 or 5 main exercises: pull-ups, rows, push-ups and dips, and pike push-ups. That's vertical pushing, horizontal pushing, and vertical pushing respectively. But the basics can also refer to any accessory movement that gives us a disproportionate level of benefit when compared to more niche exercises that only benefit one aspect of training. Mastery of the basics dictates that by taking these movements to their extreme, we can learn all calisthenic skills. Let me explain. Most would consider somebody who could one-arm pull-up to be a pull-up master, and it would then be logical to assume that because they can do one-arm pull-ups, that they only spend their time doing one-arm pull-ups because, of course, standard pull-ups are now beneath them. But what if I told you you could get 80% of the way towards an advanced skill like the one-arm pull-up by simply doing standard pull-ups and becoming ridiculously good at them? This is the key argument for mastering the basics, that anybody who wanted to achieve a high-level skill could get there by mastering an iteration of a basic movement. And the benefits of the basics don't stop there. Where a skill may have various progressions, each focused on strengthening a key aspect of ourselves, the basic movements get us generally strong, so we can use them to indirectly work towards multiple skills at once. Using our one-arm pull-up example again, we can all agree that an improved weighted pull-up will make it easier to one-arm pull-up, but a heavy pull-up will also make it easier to front lever too. And the basics aren't just about strength, because when it comes to the advanced skills that make calisthenics famous, a lot of it is built on the principles of conditioning as well. Typically, these basic movements can be scaled down to be less intense than a skill or a progression, meaning that we can get stronger without needing to place high levels of stress on our connective tissue, which take longer to recover than our muscles do. But this means that the basics are often confused with beginner, and simplicity is often discounted for complexity under the assumption that a more complicated program would be a more effective one. But because we could have Pareto benefits where 1 or 2 exercises delivers 80% of the gains we're looking for, we could actually find that the opposite is true and that simplicity often delivers more for us, especially if we consider all the possible exercises that we could do in the pursuit of a skill goal. More to the point is that because basics not only deliver value for beginners, but because of the way these movements can be scaled, either with weight or by augmenting our body position, we have an almost limitless ceiling to progressing basics to keep them effective. And I want to be very clear here, what I am not saying is that we can use pike push-ups or another basic movement and that this alone will lead us to become handstand push-up masters. Specificity is always going to be important for advanced goals. But in the way that we learn about addition and subtraction before we learn about multiplication and division, foundations are important. And as fun as attempting handstand push-ups in free space is, it will always be less beneficial to us if we still struggle to put a few pike push-ups together, and so in that case it will be more beneficial to work on our pike push-ups. Again, I mentioned that the basics doesn't necessarily mean beginner, and actually the basics can be quite hard to do, but if you can do 5 pull-ups, about 10 rolls at a 30-degree angle from the ground, 8 push-ups, 10 dips, and 5 pike push-ups, you're going to have a great foundation to be in a great place to start working out on beginner calisthenics skills. My Bodyweight Beginner program is built with the goal of getting us to this level because the basics should form the core of what we do. So check that out if you haven't already, link will be down in the description below. And I really do practice what I preach, so if you want to see how the basics have helped me, then check out this playlist right here.